Step-by-step idioms explained. IELTS and ESL, Band 7+. Heard, it's raining cats and dogs. And thought, huh? That's an idiom. It doesn't mean what it sounds like. Learn them, and you'll sound more natural and fluent fast. In this video, we'll teach idioms step by step with clear meanings and simple examples, plus how to use them in IELTS speaking and writing. Warm-up challenge. Guess the meanings of bite the bullet, kill two birds with one stone, and heart of gold. Drop your answers in the comments, then watch to see if you're right. Let's make idioms easy, memorable, and score-boosting. Raining cats and dogs. Liam stepped outside without an umbrella, thinking the clouds looked harmless. But just 10 minutes later, the sky opened up. Water poured down so heavily that he ran for cover, soaked within seconds. His friend laughed and said, "It's raining cats and dogs out here." Of course, no animals were falling from the sky. This idiom just means it's raining very heavily. Challenge. What idiom do you use in your native language for heavy rain? Share it in the comments. Let the cat out of the bag. At a birthday party, a guest arrived early and said, "I can't wait for the surprise cake," not realizing the birthday girl was right behind him. Surprise! Gone. He had let the cat out of the bag, meaning he accidentally revealed a secret. This idiom comes from old markets where tricksters would sell a cat in a bag instead of a pig. Once the bag was opened, the secret was out. Tip: this idiom is often used in workplaces too, when someone reveals a project early. Once in a blue moon, there's a man who lives in my building. Everyone knows him, but nobody ever sees him. He only shows up at community meetings or events when there's free food. One of my neighbors said, "He appears once in a blue moon." That phrase means something happens very rarely. A blue moon isn't really blue. It refers to the rare occasion when two full moons occur in the same month. Did you know? A blue moon actually happens every 2 to 3 years when two full moons occur in 1 month. Cost an arm and a leg. A friend of mine recently bought concert tickets. She was so excited until she saw the price. She sighed and said, "These cost me an arm and a leg." No limbs were actually lost. This idiom simply means something was very expensive. You'll hear this a lot when people talk about high prices: rent, electronics, travel. It's a humorous way of saying, "This really hurt my wallet." Idiom quiz. Which of these also means expensive? A. Break a leg. B. Pay through the nose. C. Under the weather. Answer. B. Pay through the nose. Under the weather. Last winter, a student missed class for a few days. When she came back, she said, "Sorry, I was feeling under the weather." That's a polite way of saying she was not feeling well. This idiom is soft and commonly used when someone has a mild illness, like a cold or headache. Instead of saying, "I was sick," people often say, "I was under the weather." It's gentle, polite, and perfect for everyday English. Mini tip: this idiom is perfect for emails when you need to explain why you were absent. A blessing in disguise. One of my friends was once rejected from a job she really wanted. She was sad at first, but 2 months later, she got a better offer with better pay and more flexibility. Looking back, she said, "Losing that job was a blessing in disguise." That phrase means something that seems bad at first turns out to be a good thing later. Bite the bullet. There was a student in my class who hated public speaking. Every time it was her turn, she looked for ways to avoid it. But during the final presentation, she said, "I guess I have to bite the bullet." That means to finally do something unpleasant or difficult after putting it off. This idiom comes from old battlefield surgeries where soldiers had no painkillers. They would bite on a bullet to deal with the pain. Today, it just means you face something bravely, even if it's hard. History fact: soldiers really did bite bullets during surgery with no anesthesia. Kill two birds with one stone. A colleague told me she always shops near her dentist's clinic. That way, she said, I kill two birds with one stone. checkup and groceries done in one trip. This idiom means doing two things at once efficiently, like listening to English podcasts while walking, 2 benefits, 1 action. Challenge. What are 2 things you can do today to kill 2 birds with 1 stone? Between a rock and a hard place. One student told me he had a dilemma. His parents wanted him to study engineering, but his dream was to become a photographer. He said, "I feel like I'm between a rock and a hard place." This idiom is used when you have 2 difficult choices and neither of them is easy or pleasant. It expresses the pressure of being stuck in a tough situation with no simple way out. Thick as thieves. In class, there were 2 girls who always sat together, worked on projects together, and shared snacks. They understood each other perfectly. Someone once said, "They're thick as thieves." That idiom describes people who are very close friends and who trust each other deeply. It's usually used for friendships that are strong, loyal, and full of secrets shared between the 2. Phrase tip. You can also say joined at the hip to describe super close friends. Heart of gold. One of my favorite idioms to teach is this: she has a heart of gold. It means someone is very kind, generous, and caring. You use it to describe people who help others, show empathy, and expect nothing in return. Whether it's a nurse, a parent, a teacher, or a friend, this phrase is a lovely compliment. Compliment challenge. Think of someone you know with a heart of gold. Text them right now and tell them, you'll make their day. Talk a mile a minute. This one is easy to spot in real life. Some people speak very fast when they're excited or nervous. They talk so quickly it's hard to keep up. You might hear someone say, "She talks a mile a minute." This idiom doesn't mean they speak far. It means they speak fast. It's light, funny, and a useful way to describe someone who's just full of energy. Fun fact, in some interviews, candidates lose points because they talk a mile a minute. Slow down and breathe. So, idioms are like the flavor of a language. They may sound confusing at first, but they make your English feel more natural and expressive. Today, you learned idioms about health, money, emotions, and more. The best way to remember them? Use them. Try saying, "I'm under the weather" instead of "I'm sick," or "that cost an arm and a leg" instead of "it was expensive." Quick review quiz. Which idiom means 1. Rarely happens, 2. Do something difficult, 3. Kind person? Leave your answers below. If this helped, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more easy English lessons. And if you got a test soon, break a leg.